You are listening to I Hate Average podcast featuring Jay from the Bronx.
All right, back at it. I Hate Average Podcast. You're here for another episode. It's Jay. Thank you guys for checking us out. Thank you for the continued support. I appreciate all you guys been doing. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the emails. I appreciate the comments on my social media. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I Hate Average Podcast. We still moving. We still going. Last week we had a great episode with Drew Carson, formerly of the Drew Carson Show. He now has the podcast, the Terra Firma podcast, and that is they just talk about horror movies and different opinions. They interview actors from former horror movies. Cool stuff. Thank you. Hope you guys are checking out Drew Carson. Thank you again, Drew, for being on the show. That was a lot of fun. Some cool feedback. I believe you guys are checking out his content. I've been hearing some cool things going on as far as that. And this week is no different. We got another great guest. We got Amanda from the Great Beer Adventure. Amanda's been providing some great content. She's been traveling the country, going to different beer breweries, just doing taste tests, finding different flavors, different atmospheres, finding family-friendly beer breweries. Just a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool content. She's been interviewing people on the spot at the beer breweries, and it's really, really cool. You got to check out her podcast, Great Beer Adventure. So, before I get into that, I want to talk about this last week. It's been very, very interesting. It's official tissue. Donald Trump is our president. Can't believe it. I know you guys can't believe that it's actually real, but it is real. Obama is not the president anymore. Donald J. Trump is our president. This guy has been doing executive orders. I think since he got in office, he's been signing executive orders all weekend. I mean, he said he was going to do it, and, we all thought he was just talking junk and just, blowing smoke, but he's serious and he's making some major moves, and I think people really need to pay attention to what's going on in this country, and it's going to be an interesting 4 years, and I'm praying for the best. Also, let's on a positive note, the Super Bowl is all set. Super Bowl 51 is all set. It should be fun. We got the Falcons that's going to go against the Patriots, and it's really, really going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a shootout. People are saying the over/under is going to be at least close to 60, 70 points. I think people are really, really excited about this game. It might be one of the highest scoring Super Bowls in history if it goes the way the experts are saying. But I'm just hoping, whatever happens, I'm just making sure. I'm hoping that the Patriots don't win. Cannot see the Patriots win again. I'm a Jets fan, so that's our arch rivals. Even though these guys are great, it's remarkable what they're doing. 7 Super Bowls within the last decade or so or more. It's really, really been cool. It's really been interesting. I just don't like them. That's just my opinion. These guys are creating history that is magical. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is something we never heard of. But me personally, I don't like them. So I don't want them to win. And the Falcons are going to take care of that. So that's where my money's going. I'll talk about that more next week with my pre-Super Bowl show. Anyway, let's get into the interview with Amanda and the Great Beer Adventure. All right, everyone. I'm here with Amanda. She's from the Great Beer Adventure podcast. How you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. So I find your podcast interesting. First, a beer podcast is cool within itself, but just having a female perspective on beer. What got you involved in before the podcast? What got you involved in researching beers?
Well, I actually, back in 2004, I met my husband, and we had our very first date, and I ordered a large Miller Lite beer that took me 2 hours to drink because it was so horrendous.
Yeah.
Um, During our courting period of our life, we really got to know each other by learning new things.
Okay.
So for us, it was, beer and food were really accessible. So we became pretty avid foodies, and we also really were into learning about beer and how to make beer and how others made beer. And we had this goal of trying as many different beers as possible.
Uh,
But the problem with that is if you try a beer from one brewery in March, by the time October rolls around, you can't remember exactly what beer you had from that brewery. You're like,
that's
I know I've
true.
had something, but I can't remember what. I started taking notes in a little journal, and we were at a bar one time, um, trying some. So I was taking notes, and a guy was like, "You should start blogging." And back then, I had no idea what a blog was.
Okay.
And so I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, stranger at the bar. That sounds like a great idea." And so I went home and I researched it, and sure enough, he was right. I should do that, and so I did. And I started the blog. Back then, it was The Great Beer Adventure. It was on Blogspot,
Oh wow,
and
oh, that's way back.
oh yeah, way back. And then I got pregnant with my first little girl, and you know how most pregnant women get these amazing cravings like peanut butter, pickles, and ice cream?
Yeah.
That was not me. I
Uh,
had the opposite of that. I had aversions. Nobody ever tells you about aversions, but
yeah.
aversions are horrible. I could not even think about barbecue, Trader Joe's, and the smell of beer, no
uh,
matter how chocolatey it was. I knew in my brain that I was supposed to smell. It smelled like a bar room floor on a hot summer night. It was horrible.
so you
Yeah.
couldn't. So,
It was so bad. So I gave up beer
oh
for
wow.
not just because of the pregnancy. I mean, obviously
Yeah, of course.
I was pregnant, like, so I didn't drink, but it took me a long time to get back into beer. We had our second child, and then about 2 years ago now, I really, was like, I need to get out.
Yeah.
The babies are no longer babies,
Uh,
and I need to go back out. And there's actually a organization. I'm up in Maine, and there's an
okay.
organization here called the Maine Beer Maven. So I started going out there, and I really
Testing
fell
out.
in love. Yeah, I really fell in love with the idea of podcasting, and then I I decided that I wanted it to be about something I was truly passionate about, and because of the importance it had in my relationship and how it really started my husband out, and me and my husband out on a strong foundation.
Okay.
It really holds a special place in my heart.
That's very interesting. I found it to be cool. I like how the one I found the episode that I really paid more attention to was the family friendly the family friendly breweries. That was kind of cool. Just some place that, like you said, you're a parent, so and you want to enjoy beers. A place that you could, instead of going to a bar, you could just go with your kids and enjoy beer at the same time.
Yeah, it's really become more of a culture. So, if you go to a brewery, you don't go to, like, get wasted. That's not the point of going to a brewery. You go to be with like-minded people, in the sense that you all like local craft beer, and you get to meet new people as well, and try new things, and have adult conversations. Not so much adult that it's like, swearing and
Yeah,
sex and everything and every other word, but you get to talk about something other than Elmo and Dora the
yeah.
Explorer, which
That's true.
is awesome.
Yeah, that's always a relief.
Yeah, the kids are on a really big Minion kick, and the other one's into Princess Elena. I could tell you the plot line and both of those really very easily, but I'd rather not.
Exactly. That's cool. So, what's I guess since you've been on this quest, what's some of maybe the top two or three beers that you tasted that that you always tend to go back to?
Well, that's really hard because there's so many beers that are coming out. I find that I really like dark beers in the winter, and I really like light and refreshing beers in the summer. Not
Okay.
like a Bud Light, not like that kind of light, but like a Cole Shuragoza. They're very light beers that are very tasty. Um, and my whole thing is I love drinking local wherever I am.
Okay.
So like last weekend I was actually down in your neck of the woods. I was down in New York.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I went to a bunch of the boroughs and I just went on a brewery trip.
Yeah, I think they just. I live in the Bronx in New York, and I think they just had opened up a brewery a couple years ago down here in the Bronx. Did you make it down there, or?
So I don't I'm not good at geography. So I was in a part of the city known as the LIC,
Oh, okay, yes, I know exactly where that's at.
and then I was in another part called Bushwick,
Okay, that's Brooklyn.
and then I was in another part. Oh, there was another one that's like by the water. Oh goodness, I don't know.
It might
The
have still
other
been.
half was over there.
Yeah, that must. So you probably went. Did you go to the Brooklyn Brewery? Was that it?
I did not get to the Brooklyn Brewery. No.
Okay.
I went to a smaller brewery. So,
Okay, it was even
LIC,
better.
yeah, LIC Beer Project. That they had some really great beers. I actually sent some of those home to my husband in the mail, which is technically illegal, but you just tell everybody it's marinade. That's just
Exactly.
marinade. It's no big deal. And then Transmitter and Other Half and Threes, and Rockaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bunch of them. There was like 7 or 8 breweries I went to and like 3 or 4 or 5 bars.
Okay. But so
Yeah.
LIC stood out to you the most?
That was a new thing that I didn't know that it existed.
Okay.
And they had cans that I could buy.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it was not, so my husband and I have a agreement now. It's kind of an unspoken agreement. It's when I go out, he watches the kids and I bring him home beer for my
Uh,
adventures.
oh, so you can't beat that. You can't beat that. It's a
Right.
win-win.
Right, exactly. So the LIC beer project stands out because they had a beer that has mosaic in it, which is a kind of hops, and I was able to send that home to him. So
Okay.
that's why that they stand out specifically, because I like being able to thank him even if it's just with a 4 pack of beer.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't beat that. That's a great way to say thank you. That's actually good marriage advice, I guess. Whenever you go out, just come home and come home with
Yeah.
some beer.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Yeah, think about what they really enjoy and put a little thought into it. And doesn't everybody really appreciate that when somebody comes back and, obviously was thinking about them?
Of course, of course. So, any tips, let's say, for the first time brewery go? Like, what do you ask for when you get there? What flavors would you prefer?
Well, I suggest talking to people. Like, talk to the people behind the bar. They're really passionate about what they're doing. If you have if you're a first time brewery going, you're like, I really enjoy, and beer, I like this kind of beer. Do you have anything similar to that? That's great. And they'll be able to tell you exactly what kind of beers to try. If you go and you're not really into beer, but somebody else is like, let's go to this brewery, and you're like, oh, okay, tell them what you like. If you
Okay.
love a good, strong black coffee, there's probably a beer for that. If you're really into white wine, there's definitely a beer for that.
Oh
So
wow.
you want to really just talk to the people there, find out, what they suggest based on what you like. Don't be afraid to talk to them. I do suggest never going and being like, I don't like beer. Well, that's closed-minded. Open your mind up and think about all the different possibilities. There's some. beers that are salty and tart, and can age them in tequila barrels, and it's pretty much like a margarita in a
Oh
beer can.
wow,
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
delicious.
cool. That definitely sounds cool. So, what's something? I guess maybe like a sneak peek with some of the future adventures that you plan on bringing out future episodes.
Well, I have 5 shows coming from New York that'll be coming out every other week,
Okay.
starting in February. I've recently spoke with somebody about the process of developing a recipe. I'm gonna
Okay.
actually have a distillery on too, and talk about how the process of making hard liquor or spirits is the same and different as brewing.
Okay. That should definitely sound be cool. Um,
Yeah.
Amanda, I don't want to keep you all night, but I really, really, really appreciate your time. Can you just tell everyone how they can reach you? Tell us about your podcast before we close.
Yeah, absolutely. My website is greatbeeradventure.com, and we can be found on all of those podcast catchers out there. And right now we actually have a free coloring page. I've teamed up with an artist, and we are putting together a beer drinkers activity book, which is really
Wow,
cool.
that's definitely
Yeah.
cool.
So if you text GBA to 31996, uh, I'll shoot you a link that will take you right over so you can take a peek at it and get some information.
Okay, cool, cool. Definitely
Yeah.
look forward to that. And thank you
Yeah,
so.
it was a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, it's very outside the box.
That's how we roll. I mean, the craft beer community, podcasting community, is a very creative bunch.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Definitely. Amanda, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, we could link back up again sometime, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Jay. Have a great night.
All right, sir.
There you have it. That's the interview with Amanda with Great Bear Adventure. Definitely check out her show. Some really, really cool content. Like I said before, definitely check out Amanda. Thank you again, Amanda, for being on the show. Also, always, as always, guys, check out my social media. I Hate Average JAY. That's Twitter, that's Snapchat. I Hate Average Podcast on Instagram. Cool stuff. More information on the show and other things. Also, check out my YouTube page, Average J Media. Been doing a daily vlog this year, trying to do a video every day of the year. I haven't been keeping up with it, but I'm going to, from now on, I'm going to stay focused and I'm going to finish out the year doing the daily vlog. It's been fun. It's a cool experience. I'm doing it as an accountability project for myself to monitor my growth. So definitely check that out. Average J Media on YouTube. Thanks again, you guys, for checking out the show. Always, I really, really enjoy the support. I really, really enjoy hearing your feedback on how you guys are perceiving the show. So definitely check out my social media. You can email me also, show@averagej.com. Once again, it's show@averagej.com. Also, publicists, artists. I'm looking for some music that I could include with the intro. As you could tell, the last couple of weeks I haven't had an intro because I want to have some not personalized, but I want to have some legit music that I can use without getting sued. So I want an artist an up and coming artist that's looking to have their music played. We could have that be the intro, or maybe we could play it at the end of the show, just to have some music and get some insight, get some publicity for the artist. I had some music, but that I was using last year, but because it's a popular song, I didn't want to continue using it with the growth of the show, being that I can use it and then get sued in the future. So to avoid any legal situations, took the music off, and I want to use
music with their permission. So publicists, artists, hit me up if you want your music played on the show, so it could be legit and I don't get in any trouble. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Thank you so much again for another great episode, another fun week.